If you don't think there's hope for the world, why bother going on?
You haven't seen the world.
Well, here we go again, all my gamer friendulums. I knew I just couldn't stay away from The Last of Us. Just yesterday, when I was reporting on Druckmann leaving the show, it got me thinking, all right, well, I wasn't too worried about that, to be honest. Considering how disappointment season 2 was, I started thinking, all right, season 3, there's still a chance for season 3. There's no reason why it'll be the same. It could be way better. It could be better than season 1. I'm going to get into this video and break down why I think season 3 of The Last of Us will be better than season 2. Well, before I go any further, don't forget to take a second to like and subscribe. It really helps me out.
Stupid old man. You don't get to rush this.
It was only when I talked to Craig that I became extremely excited of what this adaptation might look like.
The first reason that I want to get into, it's basically already written. Season 1 is all of The Last of Us first game. They did make some changes. They hardly made any changes that were all that drastic. The only real major change would be full episode about Bill and Frank, which was an episode that had a point to it. That was only really the biggest major change. There's little ones. Now, season 2, they made a lot more changes. They gave Joel and Dina a relationship. They added Gail. They added Eugene and other changes that I thought weren't necessary. But like season 1, it's still following the main story of game 2. Season 3 is going to be the second half of game 2, and I already know where it's going. They're going to be focusing on Abby. Even though they announced it recently, to me and anyone who's played the game, that's a huge duh. Season 3 will be Abby. How much Abby, who knows? Will it be 100% Abby? I don't think so. I feel like it would be kind of the reverse of season 2, where it's about 85% Abby. They don't even really need to change anything that much. I feel like a lot of the major changes they made had something to do with Neil, because considering he wrote the original games, maybe there are some things that he didn't like that he was like after the fact, oh, I wish I added that, or something he wanted to add to the game that he couldn't add, so he added it to the show. I have a feeling that there really is no way to know who did what writing for each episode, like who did the majority. Was it half and half? One person write this one and right person write that one. I have a feeling that most of the major changes that were made in both seasons were because Neil wanted to change something that he didn't like from the game. But also Craig, knows story so well that he knows that what to add or what to take out or to make the story work better and to be more streamlined. Considering that I played game 2 and I know where it goes, could be potentially very exciting. That part of the game could be arguably better than Ellie's part. But when you're playing a game, all of a sudden in the middle of the game, you're completely switched characters and you had no idea what's going to happen. It's really shocking and it pissed off a lot of people. But I loved it. I thought it was brilliant. I thought it was one of the most ballsiest things I've ever seen in a video game. But I was also annoyed at first too. Why am I suddenly playing the girl that killed Joel? But then you understand why, and it's brilliant because it makes you actually think about right and wrong and morality and all this interesting stuff. I think I actually like 2 better than 1 just because of that switch up and how brilliantly ballsy it was blown away with how good she was in the short time she was on the show. She was so good. I really wanted to see more of her. And that's probably the part of season 3 that I would be excited about the most, is just seeing more of her, because she was just really spectacular in the moments she had on the show. I mean, of course, she had her one big moment with Joel, and she's just so good. I've seen her in some things before. I saw her in Dope Sick, which is a really good show. I'm looking forward to seeing how she's going to work out in season 3, considering all the things I know that's going to happen, what they might change. I can't wait to see her go through all the shit that I know she's going to go through. But also on that same note, Gabriel Luna, I fear it probably won't see him that much in season 3 as well, as it's going to be way more Abby focused. I really love Gabriel Luna. He stepped up his acting game a lot after season 1, where I think he was kind of underutilized there as well, but he had more time to shine. He essentially kind of had his one episode where that attack on Jackson, that was one of the biggest changes from the games was a huge horde, which that never happened in the game, but gave Gabriel Luna a time to shine and show how, as Tommy, he always steps up and takes control. And being able to just watch Gabriel Luna perform and how much better he was. But I'm looking forward to seeing more of him in season 3, but I feel like we're probably not going to see him that much, considering that we're probably not going to see Ellie that much. Now, this part here, I put a question mark because it's up in the air as to whether having Neil still on the show would make season 3 better or not. I actually think him leaving might be better for the show. It has been reported that he's leaving to 100% focus the latest game, Intergalactic, for Naughty Dog. Who knows if there was any internal issues, if there were some creative differences or moments where Neil was adamant about, having a part of the game in there or adding something that he wished he had put in the game into the show. And there was a couple of those really goofy lines, like I mentioned, that one, the "I'm going to be a dad" line, which has become infamous now, and I feel like it is Neil that wrote that, not Craig. I'm really hoping it's not Craig because it was such a bad line. And I feel like that would be something that I think Neil would write. And maybe he thought it would be funny. And it felt very flat. No one liked it. But the question remains, Neil continuing to be on the show would be good or bad for it. Personally, I think that most of the reason why season 2 wasn't as good was because of Neil. I don't really have any actual evidence to back that up. That's just the feeling I get, considering that this entire show is based on a video game that he himself created at Naughty Dog, so it really is his baby. So it would make sense if he did get very protective of it and didn't want to change things or wanted to change things. Who knows? That's all speculation. It could be exactly the reason he left was what they said. There was no beef between anyone. He just left because he wanted to 100% focus on Naughty Dog's next game. That might be the real reason. It might be not. Who knows? It's really up in the air to see. We'll have to wait 2 years to see if Neil being on the show or not will affect its quality. I think the show is going to be better without him, to be personally honest. No offense to him. I just think that him being so close to the IP might actually be hindering, the proper creative success of the show. Even though season 1 was so perfect, pretty much almost game 1 beat for beat. And I think he took the opportunity to take game 2 and add or change things from 2 maybe he didn't like at the time or got removed because the game just had to take it out. We will see in season 3 if having Neil there was good or not. HBO always comes correct with production value, so even if the show itself could be weak on some level, it's still going to have that top-notch high bar of quality that HBO brings to every show regardless of the level of it. My number one reason is Craig Mazin, the writer, creator, producer of the show. I trust him as someone who has been following his career for years. Being that I am a screenwriter, I've been writing screenplays for years. I've been aware of Craig Mazin for years because he co-hosts what I think is the best screenwriting podcast on the internet called Script Notes with John August. I personally think it's the best screenwriting podcast there is, point blank. It's hosted by two successfully working screenwriters, and somehow Craig would still do the show even when he's in the middle of shooting. Craig's had a really long career that started back in '97 with his first actual writing credit being Rocket Man, weird, obscure comedy with Harlan Williams. And his earlier career was more comedy. He wrote 2 of the Scary Movie movies. He wrote Hangover 2 and Hangover 3. The Huntsman Winter War was the last thing he did before he did Chernobyl, which was where his career pretty much completely changed from comedy, action, fantasy-ish type writer to creator of very highly rated, multiple Emmy Award-winning TV show, Chernobyl. An amazing miniseries that I watched, and it's all about It's all about that legendary Chernobyl disaster, and it was a really incredible show, and it completely changed kind of his career. Because then his very next show was The Last of Us. He is the reason above all else as to why season 1 was so spectacular. I'm not going to keep going on about how 2 turned out, even though it is definitely weaker. The show overall's level of quality of writing, everything, is pretty much all due to Craig. Neil himself would be more of just a director, writer. Craig is involved with everything. He was already a showrunner on Chernobyl. He's been writing screenplays for years, so he just knows a lot of this stuff back to front. So the level of quality overall of the show, along with Chernobyl, are both due to Craig. So for that reason alone, I trust Craig to do the same as he's done in previous seasons and continue to bring that level of quality to the show. Always going to be there. That's pretty much a guarantee with Craig being involved. So that same level of quality will be brought to season 3. It will still not be as expertly produced and directed as the first 2 seasons. I trust Craig as a director and a writer, and I trust him to hear the feedback of season 2 if there was any that he heard himself. Take that into account. It's hard to say if he hears some of the news that it wasn't exactly the most popular season. Craig will continue to bring that same level of polish he's had since before Chernobyl, and his years of experience with screenwriting and structure and understanding story and how everything works together. So he is my number one reason why season 3 of The Last of Us will be better than season 2. Also, I'm pretty sure it's not going to have goofy, stupid lines like this. Just going over it again, season 3 of The Last of Us will be better than season 2. I'm saying it now. I thought maybe I was gonna say it might be, it could be, but when I look at all the things that I just brought up, it has the potential to be better than season 3. And I'm almost guaranteeing it right now. But here we are now, and it's only been a few months since season 2 ended, so we have at least another 2 years to see if any of these points that I brought up will come into effect. One that is the most interesting to me would be to see how having Neil not on the show anymore, though he does still have an executive producer credit and he might do some advisory work, will him not being integral into the creation of the production of the show, will it have an effect? That is a question that I am interested in. But that is my wrap up. But there you have it, all my gaming friends. There you have it, all my gaming friendulums. My 7 points for how The Last of Us Season 3 will be better than Season 2. I think I made some pretty good points. I would love for you guys to comment below. Let me know what you think. Do you have any ideas of your own? What do you think of the ideas that I brought up? I think they're all pretty snazzy. And once you're done reading over my snazzy list, don't forget to like and subscribe. But also don't forget to keep stinking gaming like Matt Damon.